Have you ever felt like your hips just will not move the way they used to? Maybe you wake up in the morning and those first few steps feel heavy, stiff, or even painful. Or perhaps you've noticed that bending down to pick something up, getting out of a chair, or even walking for more than a few minutes leaves you sore and frustrated. For many older adults, hip stiffness isn't just uncomfortable. It's a constant reminder that independence and mobility may be slipping away. And I know how scary that thought can feel. The truth is, your hips are the foundation of your movement. When they're stiff or weak, everything else suffers. Your back starts to hurt, your knees take extra strain, and your balance becomes shaky. This can increase the risk of falls, and I don't need to tell you how dangerous that can be in your 60s, 70s, or 80s. But here's the hopeful part. Stiffness does not have to be permanent. With the right movements, you can loosen your hips, restore flexibility, and reduce pain. On the other hand, some common exercises that people think are helpful can actually make hip pain worse. And I want to make sure you're not unknowingly doing the wrong ones. I'm Dr. Linda Rose, and today I'll walk you through 3 gentle exercises that can ease stiffness and bring relief, along with 3 movements that might be secretly making your hip pain worse. My goal is to help you feel stronger, safer, and more confident in your own body, so you can keep enjoying the life you love without fear of being held back by hip pain. Before we get started, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell, so you never miss a simple, science-backed health tip, designed especially for older adults like you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback is invaluable and helps me improve these videos for your benefit. Now, let's begin. Exercise 1. Seated hip marching. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to loosen stiff hips is something I often recommend to my patients. Seated hip marching. This exercise is especially useful if you find standing exercises difficult or if your balance isn't as steady as it used to be. It allows you to gently activate your hip joints and surrounding muscles without putting too much strain on them. Here's how you do it. Sit tall in a sturdy chair with both feet flat on the ground. Keep your back straight, shoulders relaxed, and hands resting lightly on the sides of the chair for balance. Now, slowly lift one knee toward your chest, just as if you're marching in place. Lower it back down with control and then repeat with the other leg. Continue alternating sides for 10 to 15 repetitions per leg. Move at a comfortable pace, and remember, this is not about speed. It's about gentle, steady movement that wakes up the hips. Why does this work? Well, seated marching helps keep your hip flexors active, which are the muscles that often tighten up with age when we spend more time sitting. At the same time, it increases blood flow to the hip joints, which helps lubricate them and ease stiffness. Over time, this simple movement can improve flexibility, reduce discomfort, and make everyday tasks like climbing stairs or standing up from a chair much easier. I also love this exercise because it can be adapted to your personal comfort level. If lifting your knee high is too difficult at first, just raise it a few inches. The key is consistency. Doing a little bit every day will give your hips the signal they need to stay mobile. For those who feel stronger, you can even add a light ankle weight later on for extra resistance. Imagine this. Instead of waking up and feeling locked up in your hips, you could sit in your chair, do a few minutes of hip marching, and notice your joints moving more freely. It's a small step that can lead to big changes in how confident and capable you feel in your body. And the best part? You don't need special equipment or a gym. Just you, your chair, and a few minutes of gentle focus. Exercise 2. The butterfly stretch. Another powerful yet gentle movement I recommend for loosening tight hips is the butterfly stretch. This stretch focuses directly on the inner thighs and hip joints, areas that often become tight with age due to less movement and more sitting. If you've ever felt like your hips are locked in place when trying to bend, this stretch can be a game changer. To begin, sit on the floor or on a firm mat. Bring the soles of your feet together so that your knees bend outward to the sides, forming a shape that looks like butterfly wings, hence the name. Hold your ankles or feet with your hands and gently pull them closer toward your body. As you do this, let your knees drop toward the floor as far as they comfortably can. Now, sit tall with your back straight and take a few deep breaths. Stay in this position for about 20 to 30 seconds, then slowly release. Repeat 2 to 3 times. The beauty of the butterfly stretch is that it targets muscles we don't often think about, the inner thighs and groin. When these muscles are tight, they restrict the natural range of motion in your hips, making walking or bending more uncomfortable. By gently opening them up, you allow your hips to move more freely. Think of it as giving your joints more space to breathe. Now, some of my patients worry that they're too stiff to do this stretch. And that's okay. You don't need your knees to touch the floor for this to be effective. Even if your knees stay high, just holding the position and breathing deeply helps release tension. Over time, you'll notice your knees naturally lowering closer to the ground as flexibility improves. If sitting on the floor is too difficult, you can modify this by sitting in a sturdy chair and placing your feet apart, then gently pressing your knees outward with your hands. The butterfly stretch is also deeply relaxing. I encourage you to use it as a small moment of mindfulness. As you breathe, imagine the stiffness melting away from your hips. Many of my patients tell me that after just a week of doing this daily, they feel lighter, looser, and more confident in their steps. So whether you're starting your day, winding down in the evening, or taking a break during the afternoon, this stretch can become a little ritual that restores comfort and ease to your hips. Exercise 3. Standing hip circles. The third exercise I want to share with you is standing hip circles. This one is especially helpful because it combines movement with balance, gently encouraging the hips to loosen up while also strengthening the muscles around them. Many older adults I work with are surprised by how effective such a simple motion can be in restoring comfort and mobility. To begin, stand tall with your feet about shoulder width apart. If your balance feels unsteady, place one hand lightly on the back of a sturdy chair or against a wall for support. Now, slowly shift your weight onto your left leg and lift your right foot just an inch or two off the floor. With control, start making small circular movements with your lifted leg, as if you're gently drawing a circle in the air with your knee. Perform 8 to 10 circles in one direction, then switch and do the same in the opposite direction. Afterward, lower your leg, shift your weight, and repeat the exercise on the other side. What makes hip circles so effective is the way they engage multiple muscles and joints at once. Instead of working just one small area, this movement activates the hip flexors, glutes, and stabilizing muscles all together. At the same time, it increases circulation in the hip joint, which is essential for reducing stiffness and maintaining lubrication in the cartilage. Think of it as oiling a rusty hinge. Each gentle circle helps smooth out the motion. Another benefit of hip circles is that they encourage better balance and stability, two things that naturally decline with age. By standing on one leg while moving the other, you're training your body to stay steady, which reduces the risk of falls. And as you know, preventing falls is one of the most important steps in staying independent and confident as we grow older. Don't worry if your circles are small at first. Even tiny movements can have a big impact over time. The key is to stay relaxed, breathe deeply, and move within a comfortable range. As your hips begin to loosen, you'll naturally find the circles becoming larger and smoother. Many of my patients tell me that after adding this exercise to their daily routine, they notice less stiffness in the mornings and more freedom when walking. It's simple, takes less than 5 minutes, and can be done anywhere, even while waiting for the kettle to boil or during a television break. Small movements really can make a big difference. Pain worsening exercise 1. Deep squats. One exercise I often caution my patients about is the deep squat. Now, squats can be excellent for building leg and hip strength when done properly, but once you move into a deep squat position, where your hips drop lower than your knees, it can place tremendous pressure on the hip joints. For older adults, especially those already struggling with stiffness or arthritis, this movement can do more harm than good. Think about what happens during a deep squat. As you lower your body, the hip joint compresses tightly, forcing the ball and socket joint into a position it may no longer handle smoothly. If your cartilage is worn down or if inflammation is present, this deep bending can aggravate pain, cause pinching sensations, and even lead to longer-term irritation. Instead of loosening your hips, It may actually make them feel stiffer once you stand back up. Another issue is balance. A deep squat requires strong stabilizing muscles and excellent coordination. Without that, it's easy to lose control and strain not only the hips but also the knees and lower back. I've had many patients tell me they attempted deep squats after seeing them recommended online, only to end up with sharper pain the next day. Now, that doesn't mean all squatting is bad. Modified or partial squats, where you only lower yourself a few inches as if you're about to sit in a chair, can be beneficial and safe for many seniors. The key difference is range of motion. By avoiding that deep drop, you protect your hips from excessive compression while still engaging the muscles that support them. If you've been doing deep squats and notice hip discomfort afterward, take that as your body's warning sign. Pain is never something to push through, especially in the hips, where damage can affect every step you take. Instead, swap deep squats for safer alternatives like seated hip marching, gentle chair squats, or controlled step-ups. These movements build strength and flexibility without forcing your joints into stressful positions. The truth is, protecting your hips isn't about doing the hardest or deepest exercise. It's about choosing movements that support your body's needs today, not what it could handle 20 or 30 years ago. With a little adjustment, you can still stay active, strong, and mobile, without putting your hips at risk. Pain-worsening exercise 2. High-impact jumping movements. The second exercise I strongly advise my older patients to avoid is high-impact jumping. This includes things like jumping jacks, jump squats, or any exercise that requires you to leave the ground and land with force. While these movements might look fun, energetic, or even youthful, they can be incredibly harsh on aging hips. Here's why. Every time you land from a jump, the force that travels through your legs is about 3 to 5 times your body weight. When you're younger, your joints and cartilage may absorb that shock without much trouble. But as we grow older, the cushioning in our hips naturally thins out. Combine that with stiffness, arthritis, or weaker muscles, and the impact of repeated jumping can quickly inflame the hip joint. Instead of loosening stiffness, it often creates sharper pain, swelling, and a longer recovery time. Another hidden danger of high-impact jumps is loss of balance. When you leave the ground, you lose stability for a brief moment. For someone in their 60s, 70s, or beyond, that small instability can be enough to cause a misstep or even a fall. And as you know, one bad fall can change life dramatically, sometimes leading to surgery, reduced independence, or ongoing pain. That's a risk I never want for you. I also remind my patients that high-impact exercises aren't the only way to build strength or improve circulation. There are safer, low-impact alternatives that give you the same benefits without the joint stress. For example, instead of jump squats, you can try partial chair squats where your feet stay grounded. Instead of jumping jacks, try a seated or standing step-out jack, where you step side to side while moving your arms in the same pattern. You'll still raise your heart rate and work your hips, but without the dangerous pounding on your joints. The truth is, many exercise programs marketed to get you fit fast don't take into account the needs of older adults. Jumping may look powerful, but for aging hips, it's more punishing than helpful. Choosing low-impact, joint-friendly movements will keep you strong and active without the risk of flare-ups. So the next time you see a workout suggesting lots of jumps, remember this. Protecting your hips today means preserving your mobility for years to come. Staying safe is not about doing the flashiest moves, it's about doing the smartest ones. Pain-worsening exercise 3. Heavy leg press machines. The third exercise I encourage many older adults to avoid is using heavy leg press machines at the gym. Now, I understand why people turn to this machine. It feels secure because you're seated and supported, and it promises to strengthen the legs and hips. But here's the truth. When too much weight is added, the leg press can actually place extreme stress on the hip joints and lower back, creating more pain instead of relief. Here's what happens. On a leg press machine, you sit back and push a heavy platform away from your body with your legs. The problem is, as you bend your knees and hips to lower the weight, the hips are forced into a deep flexed position under heavy load. This compresses the joint, just like a deep squat, but with even more pressure because of the added weight. If your cartilage is thinning or if arthritis is present, This movement can feel like grinding, pinching, or sharp pain in the hips. Over time, it may worsen joint inflammation or even speed up wear and tear. Another risk is poor posture during the exercise. Many people unknowingly round their lower back when pushing heavy weight, which shifts the pressure into the hips and spine. For older adults, this combination can easily trigger both hip and back discomfort after just a few sets. Instead of building strength, it often leaves you feeling sore and stiff for days. That doesn't mean resistance training is off limits. In fact, it's one of the best ways to maintain strong, supportive muscles around the hips. The key is choosing safer, more functional alternatives. Instead of the leg press, I often recommend bodyweight chair squats, seated leg extensions, or step-ups on a low platform. These movements strengthen the legs and hips in a more natural way, without forcing the joints into an unnatural compressed position under heavy load. The bottom line is this: heavy leg press machines can look appealing because they make you feel powerful in the moment. But the cost to your hips may not be worth it. You want exercises that protect and preserve your joints, not ones that break them down faster. By swapping out the leg press for safer strength-building movements, you'll still gain muscle and stability, but with much less risk of injury or pain. Protecting your hips is about thinking long-term. Every safe choice you make today is an investment in the mobility and independence you'll enjoy tomorrow. We've covered a lot together today. 3 gentle exercises to ease hip stiffness and 3 movements that could actually make your pain worse. And I want you to remember this: your hips are not just joints, they are the foundation of your independence. Every step you take, every time you sit down or stand up, every moment you choose to stay active depends on them. When you protect and strengthen your hips, you're really protecting your freedom to keep living life on your terms. If you've been feeling discouraged by stiffness or discomfort, please don't give up. Your body is capable of healing, adapting, and improving, no matter your age. I've seen men and women in their 70s and 80s regain mobility and confidence just by making small, consistent changes. And you can too. Think of these safe, simple exercises as daily gifts you give your future self. Moments that will add up to more ease, more strength, and more joy in your movement. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of today's exercises are you excited to try first? Or did you recognize one of the pain-worsening moves that you might need to replace? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your story might inspire someone else watching today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Zenior Life. That way, you'll never miss a science-backed health tip designed to keep you moving, thinking, and living well at every stage of life. And if you're ready for the next step, watch my video on gentle daily stretches to improve balance. It pairs beautifully with what we covered today. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and as always, take good care of yourself.